Hey everybody. Okay, so today's topic, we are going to discuss 5 common buyer turnoffs to avoid when selling your house. If I'm looking down, of course, this is because I have my notes to make sure I stay on topic. Real estate is something you guys know I'm very passionate about, so I can go off on tangents, which is not necessarily bad. I mean, if good information comes out, but I want to make sure we don't make these videos 35 minutes long each, right? Okay, so the moment you've decided that you want to put your house on the market, I know there might be some realtors that might even suggest, or I could put a sign in the yard like tonight, I could put a lockbox on right now, or you yourself might be thinking this house is perfect and ready to go. We just need to do maybe a deep clean and, just put it on as is. But I would definitely suggest to kind of don't do that. I was trying to figure out another way of saying it, but just basically don't do that. When it comes to selling your house, even if your house is in relatively good condition, there are some areas that are big turnoff to buyers, which then of course is going to be affecting your bottom line. So we'll start with number 1, which is bad curb appeal. Okay. In Texas, it's hot. Sometimes I just park and get straight into my house. I'm not even necessarily paying attention to the grass, unless of course it's like, getting pretty high up there, ready to need to be cut. But the truth of the matter is you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And your curb appeal is in fact the first impression. I mean, in person. Yes, I know first impression technically is online if they see it, but you guys know what I mean, right? Curb appeal. The moment the buyer pulls up to your driveway, if they see signs of neglect, they're going to start thinking, well, what else are they not keeping up with? Like, this is the first impression they're showing us as a buyer, and the grass is 3 feet tall. There's cobwebs built up all around the light, or, a bird's nest or something's been taking place. They're going to look at all of those things. And once you kind of start buyers off on the wrong mindset that there's something wrong or unkept with this house, they're gonna start looking through the whole of your house with that same mindset to confirm the thought they already have that maybe this house wasn't as kept up with as it should be. So you definitely want to make sure the grass is cut. If you have flower beds or around your trees, refresh the mulch, or if you have like gravel or pretty rocks and stuff like that, make sure that's freshened up. Trim any overgrown bushes or trees, all those things. Pay attention to all of those things. I'm sure your realtor will take a look at your house and give you any further specific suggestions. Maybe the door needs to be painted, refreshing the doormat, inexpensive fix that just makes a difference when you're walking up, right? Because it takes us a moment when we're unlocking the lockbox for the buyer, so they're standing around, they're looking at everything. So just keep that in mind, right? So curb appeal is 1. 2, having your house decorated with decor that is so you. I'm not knocking your decor. I love the decor. I love everything. I am a person who appreciates a lot of different art styles, and from boho to traditional to transitional and all the other cool and funky things in between. That might not all be in my house, but I definitely have appreciation for it. However, we're not talking about that. We're talking about appealing your house to the masses. We want your house to be as neutral as possible so that buyers can come and envision themselves in there. Think of it like an Airbnb, right? Like if you went into an Airbnb and you expect to see maybe just really basic pictures on the wall. If it's a beach Airbnb, maybe there's some kind of nautical theme photo here and there. But it'd be really weird if you went in there and just saw a whole family photo collage on the wall, like where you're supposed to be sleeping at this Airbnb or in a hotel, right? There's a reason why builders are able to sell dirt. Okay, they go to the model home and buyers see what it could be, and it's nothing that's very specific to any one taste. It's very neutral and wildly appealing to a lot of people. And I get it, that might be so boring to you. I have a cousin that hates the color white. White drives her crazy. But you know what? It's a clean canvas for buyers. So, white walls instead of like bold red in the kitchen, if that's still the style. I know it was for a long time, like red, red is supposed to enhance appetite, they say. Color theory, maybe. But, when it comes to selling a house, just neutral, right? If it's not white or a nice beige, gray, when you're watching this, if gray is still in. But The point is we want to make it neutral. You know, there's a lot of things that we're doing to appeal to the masses when it comes to attracting as most buyers as possible. This is going to be one of them. So when it comes to your personal items, your collections, your wall collages of photos and stuff like that, don't feel too disappointed about taking it down, right? If you hired a realtor that you trust and they said, hey, we're going to sell your house and get it done and you're going to move to your new dream home, believe them and start packing. Just think of it like that. Like, we're just pre-packing for what is going to happen eventually anyway, right? If you don't need any of the items right now to live and survive, practically speaking, just start packing it up. One less thing to do once you get under contract, get a buyer, and get moving. Number 3 is going to be smells. Okay. This could be a very sensitive topic. No one wants to think they live in a house that smells. I'm not saying that your house necessarily stinks, but it could have a smell you're not aware of. If you have pets, I have 3 dogs. One of them is behind me sleeping right now. I have 3 dogs. They have a smell, and these are our fur babies, and no one's going to talk about our fur babies. I get it, but I am saying, find somebody that you love and trust that will tell you the truth, A lot of times we go nose blind to smells that we are around all the time. So I'm not saying that the dogs are dirty and they stink, but they may have a smell that's going to be sensitive to potential buyers, right? So pet smells are one thing. If anybody in the home smokes cigarettes, of course, carpets that might need to be deep cleaned, just high traffic, eventually dirt and all that kind of stuff just builds up and can create a smell. If you haven't opened up your windows in a while to let fresh air come in and circulate, you might want to go ahead and do that. If you have a fireplace in your house and you use it and maybe that needs to be cleaned out because there's just residual smoke, you also want to think about smells in regards to what you're cooking, right? Jamaican descent, we have curry, we have jerk seasonings, we have all these spicy stuff. We love seafood, all right? I'm also coming from Miami, Florida, love seafood. And so if I was to put my home in a market, I may curtail certain meals just until we get in a contract, right? I might not be cooking curry chicken and escovy fish and stuff like that week. Okay, it's not going to kill you not to do it, just for a little bit, just to get that buyer in and move forward with your life, right? So be conscious of those smells. Don't be offended if the professional you hired points something out, because I promise this with love and it's for your best interest, okay? The 4th thing we're going to talk about, tour guide. You are not one, okay? When you have someone that is ready to view your home, to show your home, I know with all, love and genuineness in your heart, you just want to show off your home that you're so proud of. Like, you want to make sure they don't miss the new addition or the backsplash you put on, or whatever the case is, whatever it is that you might be thinking you want to tell them because you think it'll help. I promise you it's not going to help. It's going to hurt. If there's something you want them to know about your home, make sure that's communicated with your listing agent, and then maybe your listing agent provides like a benefits sheet or something to provide the buyers in a flyer form to let them know, like, hey, this tree is actually a plum tree or whatever it is, right? You want to communicate that to your listing agent, let them communicate that to the buyer's agent, and then to their buyers. When you're in the property and the buyer's looking for it, it is very uncomfortable. It is very, very uncomfortable for the buyers and the buyer agent. Like I said, the buyers want to see themselves in the property. They can't do that if you are standing right there. They can't be honest with their feelings, their opinions. They're not going to look through the property like they normally would if you weren't there, opening closets to make sure the space is there, lingering around, seeing themselves in there. They're not going to do it. They're going to speed through. They're going to feel very uncomfortable, and then they're going to leave the property, and they're not even going to remember what they saw. It happens so many times. I say it over and over. And then sometimes we have the owners who will unfortunately divulge information that I know that if I was a listing agent hearing it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Like, you're giving away your negotiating power, or you maybe mentioned something that wasn't on the seller's disclosure. Now, granted, if something happened to the house and it's not on the seller's disclosure and it should be, like, that's a whole nother topic. Like, don't hide anything, because everything in darkness eventually comes to light. It always does. But that's like I said, one of my tangents, right? The point is, the point of it all. If you are home, you may say something that you shouldn't have said. You're going to make the buyers feel uncomfortable. They're not going to see themselves in your home. And ultimately, they're not going to appreciate the angle you're coming from. They're just going to leave and go on to another house that they could feel is their home. I know a lot of buyers I work with, even when you're not there, they already feel uncomfortable going through a property where it's clear that people are still living through, because they want to be respectful. Like, it's weird going through people's stuff. So you being there is really not going to help the situation. Like, don't do it. If they have any questions about something specific that they're seeing that they're not sure on, the buyers will ask their buyer's agent. The buyer agent will communicate it with their listing agent, and we will get that information to them. So there's that. And the fifth thing I want to mention is the kitchen. When it comes to the kitchen, a lot of conversations I find, or like gatherings happen, is what I'm trying to say, in the kitchen. At least I know that to be the case for me and my family, and a lot of friends and family that I know, right? We all kind of tend to gravitate towards the kitchen island, or just hanging out in the kitchen area. If the buyer has kids, you know, they're going to be cooking a lot in the kitchen, breakfast, lunch, dinner, those kind of things. So when it comes to your kitchen, we want to make sure that it's showing off at its best ability, right? You don't want to highlight things that may indicate to people that there's not enough space, right? So you don't want to have a lot of things on the kitchen counters, like all your appliances. Even if it's convenient for you to have it out, just try to keep it as minimal as possible and show space, right? Show there's a lot of counter space to work with. Don't have your refrigerators with a lot of pictures and your schedules and stuff on there. It just makes the space look cluttered. Don't store things on top of your refrigerator, right? So some people put like cereal boxes on top of the refrigerator. That actually kind of indicates to buyers that there's not enough storage. Like, you don't have enough storage, that you're like putting pots and pans and cereal boxes on top of the refrigerator because you don't have enough in the cabinet or the pantry, right? So don't put anything on top of the refrigerators. Don't put anything on your refrigerators. Leave as much counter space as possible. Clean the inside of the ovens, because they do open it. Clean the counter spaces really good. Do not leave any dishes in the sink at all. Never. Not at all. No dirty dishes anywhere. Okay? Put them in the dishwasher. If the dishwasher is kind of sort of full, I don't care if you like put dishes like on top, like piled on top in a weird way, like you wouldn't actually run the dishwasher this way, but you're using it as like storage almost, to just hide it until, you know, the buyers have left and you could, you know, run the dishwasher properly or clean your dishes by hand if that's what you do. So yeah, be mindful of that. So have it nice and clean, show off space, no dishes, no dirtiness, and the buyers will love and thank you for it. So those are my 5 tips to avoid turning off buyers as they are walking into your home, as they're trying to sell your property. Again, my biggest thing when it comes to selling your home is that we don't want to show age, right? We don't want to show deterioration. We don't want to have spaces that offend or confuse people. We don't want to give buyers objections that don't need to be there. So all these little tips kind of fall into that bucket. We don't want to start making them think something's wrong with this house. There's not enough storage, or they haven't been keeping up with certain basic stuff, you know, so maybe there's something else they're not keeping up with at home that we need to be critical of. So just keep those things in mind. If you have any questions, 100% reach out. I'm here for you. And yeah, we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.